What's going on, everybody? Hope you're all having a fantastic day today. Now, ladies and gentlemen, today I wanted to go ahead and discuss the new aftermarket part that Sledgehammer Games just went ahead and introduced into Modern Warfare 3 for the M16. I've seen a handful of people out there, actually a decent amount, claim that it's really bad. It's just not really their cup of tea. So I went ahead, I obviously grinded it out, unlocked it, tried it out for myself, went through a lot of different attachments, and today I kind of want to formulate everything I went through, my experience with this weapon, where I can see where you guys think it's bad, and also what I did to kind of improve this weapon and turn it into an absolute demon machine. Of course, as always, thank you, Sledgehammer, for continuously putting in free content week after week after week. I mention this all the time. Seriously, this new version of live service they have worked on within Modern Warfare 3, whether you like the game or not, it's been phenomenal. Every single week, there's new camos, new aftermarket parts, which completely change up weapons into different things. It keeps the game interesting and fresh, so I really do enjoy this. But with that being said, let's go ahead and dive deep into the M16 aftermarket part here. Now, I will be honest with you guys. I agree. It felt a little rough in the beginning. You know, I unlocked this aftermarket part, and I thought I was going to be able to handle it kind of like how I handle any other version of the M16, you know? I don't typically need an underbarrel. I usually slap a suppressor on my M16, and, you know, it feels perfect because it's a burst weapon. But once you go ahead and equip this aftermarket part and you turn it into a fully automatic weapon, it changes absolutely everything. And when I say everything, I mean everything about this gun. Now, again, it doesn't make it completely awful, but it makes it feel like it can't compete with, you know, anything that's a little bit more competent, you know, I should say. You can definitely handle your own. You could still get kills with it, but it's not going to feel as enjoyable. It doesn't feel very rewarding, and, you know, it didn't feel like anything was connecting. Basically, the recoil was absurd. Seriously, no matter what you try to go ahead and deck out on this thing when I first had it, it didn't want to connect with me. And I could see where people were having some trouble with it. But you can't give up on this gun right out the gate. You can't go ahead and equip this thing exactly how you would equip it when it comes to it being a burst weapon. You have to completely reformat it. You have to go back to the basics, the fundamentals of this gun, and treat it like it's a completely different beast. Like I said, all these aftermarket parts have been phenomenal by Sledgehammer. They have seriously been knocking it out of the park. And these aftermarket parts, really, like, I'm not lying, they change up the weapons. It makes it feel like there's more guns within this game than there really are, because when you put on an aftermarket part, it changes everything about it. That weapon that you were currently using is now a completely different beast. And the same thing applies here with the M16. Yeah, it might be the same gun, you know, it's still the M16, it's just going fully automatic now, but you have to think of it as a different weapon. You can't just put this aftermarket part on and think it's going to work exactly how it did before. No, you have to think of it as a different weapon. So I went behind the scenes and I kind of decked it out a little bit. I'll showcase my class setup here for you guys. Now, before, I used a stock and I used a rear grip for my M16, along with the red dot, obviously the 45 round mag, and I used to rock a suppressor on this bad boy, and that would be enough for me. I felt like I didn't really need an underbarrel. You know, it's a burst gun. The stock allowed me to have a little bit better, you know, recoil control, and I also used a rear grip to help with some of the ADS speeds because it's a burst weapon, and I do want to be able to, you know, get up and engage at, you know, different ranges and not just hold it at long range. But obviously, when you put on the Jack Patriot kit, it's going to take away one of the attachments. And at the same time, this just had so much kick. It had so much kick to it when I first started using it. So I had to remove the rear grip as well. And honestly, I didn't really think putting on a rear grip that would help with recoil control would do enough, seriously. The stock felt like absolutely nothing. So the rear grip, I just kind of just ignored. I focused on the underbarrel now. So I tried out both a underbarrel for vertical recoil and horizontal, and I decided that horizontal was better fit for me personally. You might want to go ahead and switch that up for personal preference, but I just felt like vertical was a little bit easier to control. It was more so the gun was flying to the side, and it just made it so hard and inconvenient to use it at decent ranges. I felt like I had to be up close and personal, but again, it's an assault rifle, it's an M16, and it's also a Modern Warfare 2 gun. So as we all know, the Modern Warfare 2 guns do have kind of slower ADS speeds across the board depending on the attachments you have on, compared to all of the Modern Warfare 3 assault rifles, no matter matter what attachments you put on. So with that knowledge, you have to keep in mind it's going to ADS a bit slow. So it just didn't feel comfortable. So I thought that the horizontal recoil kind of helped out a bit and helped with the range. And then for the muzzle, I had to change it up. No suppressors here, ladies and gentlemen. I changed it over to the X10 ported 290 muzzle. Now, I'll be honest, before this muzzle, I was using the Jack BFB, as you can see right here, which is even better. It's absolutely insane. Clearly, everybody knows about it. But the downside is that you obviously show up on the radar, a little bit more. I think you show up as a triangle so they could see the exact direction you're looking at. It wasn't too insane. It wasn't that bad, but it is obnoxious, I'll be honest. And realistically, I would say the X10 ported has just about the same recoil control as the Jack BFB here. So I didn't really see too much of a difference. If this gun still has too much kick, I would suggest trying the Jack BFB, see if that works out. But I don't think you need to take it that far. I think the X10 will be absolutely fantastic and it will control the recoil. But you have to keep in mind while using this rifle, and again, I'm going to apologize about the gameplay here. I only got a couple of really solid clips today that I was able to go ahead and grind out for you guys for this video. I'm going to record more tomorrow, but I just didn't have as much time to grind out this game. It's good gameplay, don't get me wrong, but the M16 runs out of ammo, so I can't use it, and I end up picking up a different gun, and I don't really die, so I don't really get my M16 back, so you guys get it. But through the gameplay I'm showing you guys, you could definitely tell that, the recoil control, it's made for range. I wouldn't suggest using this class setup, specifically here, or honestly, even just this version of the gun in general, if you're planning on running and gunning. If you're planning on using this weapon on an up-close and personal map, I just don't think it's worth it. I really don't think it's worth it. I think there's better options out there. Many SMGs will outplay pretty much anything. And honestly, the BP-50 pretty much outguns almost all the assault rifles up close. Realistically, the M16 here, you're going to want to use it for medium to long range engagements, exactly how it should be used. But like I said, it's just, it's so much recoil. And if you decide to deck it out with some ADS attachments, you're going to have to worry about basically never hitting any of your shots. So when it comes down to this, you have to, keep that in mind. You're going to have to prep yourself a little bit more with the M16. You can't run and gun as much as you do with the Modern Warfare 3 weapons. You're going to have to be able to ADS a bit sooner, prep your shots a bit sooner. But trust me, if you do get into that mindset and that play style, this thing becomes a beam machine. And honestly, when it comes to the rest of the meta within the game, I think this thing can easily compete. Between the damage, the range, and the accuracy, it slaps. It really does slap. The only downside, like I said, is you have to deal with slow ADS times. And that is where it's going to be kind of overshadowed. I think that people are going to completely ignore this and go back to other weapons, which I hope they don't. I love seeing variety within my matches, but the reality is I don't see this at all. I literally don't see this in any of my matches. I quite literally am the only person pulling this thing out, and sometimes the people who hop into my squad alongside with me. Maybe a sprinkle here and there, but nobody likes it. And if people are using the M16, they're using the burst version of it and not the actual full auto version. You could tell that people aren't really going towards this gun, and again, it's understandable, and I know why. Because every single Modern Warfare 3 gun ADS is faster. And yes, this gun is really good when you deck it out correctly, but the ADS speeds will definitely hold you back. Because using any other Modern Warfare 3 gun will allow you to move faster, navigate faster, flank easier, and push up on enemies easier while still being able to get that sight down to engage if someone pops up right up in your face. This gun, yeah, you could still move, you could still flank, all that good stuff, but you're going to have to be slow, and you're going to have to prep yourself before enemies come at you. You can't just move and on the fly target lock onto an enemy. It just doesn't work like that. And yeah, sometimes you could pull it off on, some enemies that might be a little under your bracket, but with how this matchmaking is nowadays, no. It's not happening. The majority of people are just rocking Modern Warfare 3 guns, and they're going to outgun you every single time. Because like I said, even though this thing has good damage, good range, good control when decked out correctly, the ADS times can't compete. And the Modern Warfare 3 guns also have good damage, good range, and good control. The MCW, fantastic. SVA, honestly, I would take the SVA over this. I'd take the BP-50 over this. I'd take a lot of the assault rifles over this, just down to the fact of the ADS. Now, will I? No, because you guys know me. I love using variety in Call of Duty, so obviously I'm still going to pull this gun out. I'm still going to use it. I'm still going to have it in my mix. but you are definitely not going to see it that much in your lobbies because, like I just said, it just can't compete with some of the other contenders. They all just feel better because they can get down sights faster, and you can deck them out in ways that won't affect your overall gun. Like, I can put all recoil attachments on all the weapons in Modern Warfare 3, and I could still ADS extremely fast, faster than any Modern Warfare 2 gun. And with the Modern Warfare 2 weapons, yeah, they adjusted them, and yeah, they feel better. But if you put on anything that's for recoil, it messes with it severely. And this gun, the M16, needs those recoil attachments. And because you're adding them on, you're going to be ADSing slowly. That is probably the biggest downside. But even with that downside, I think it's worth grinding out for. Now, the challenges to unlock it are a little tedious in multiplayer. Not completely bad, but a little tedious. You might want to try out zombies potentially. I know a lot of people go to zombies to do these challenges because it's 10 times easier, but I usually stick to multiplayer. I grinded it out, but I think it's worth it. Again, any variety to add within this game, I am down for. And if they further improve the ADS speeds of all the Modern Warfare 2 guns across the board within some of these next updates, that's just going to make this gun even more overpowered. Like with Season 4, when that drops, and if they, by any chance, update the Modern Warfare 2 guns a little bit more, like they have been every other season, then that would be huge. That will literally change this weapon, and who knows, maybe sometime down the road, they will just buff the M16 in general, and people will really want to rock this gun. It's an update away from success, and that's why I say it's worth it. It's not something that is useless, pointless, completely takes you out of your vibe, whatever. It is a aftermarket part with all the potential in the world to be something outstanding. It's just a few steps away from getting there. But until it gets there, I still think it's worth trying out. And again, check out my class. You can tweak it if you want to, further improve it towards your personal playstyle. Because you guys know, on this channel, I always try to avoid showcasing classes because that's the fun of Call of Duty, making what's right for you. But I know everybody always asks me, so it just seems pointless not to showcase my class. I will still say make your own class if you like, but I'll showcase what I rock, and then you can tweak it if it's better, for you personally. But that class setup will make the fully auto M16 a laser beam, and it will have plenty of damage to go ahead and destroy opponents. It's just, you have to prep yourself and be comfortable with a weapon that will be a little bit slower when it comes to ADSing. And if you do want to take some of these attachments off, yeah, you can change out some of these attachments for more ADS attachments to make it faster, but you have to be okay with it having more recoil. And if you use it on an up-close and personal map, you have to be okay with it getting outgunned by a lot of other weapons like the BP-50, which will severely outclass it, Like, obviously, on small maps, recoil isn't really your biggest concern over reaction time, so you can put on those ADS attachments and not really worry about the side sway on the M16 fully automatic. But like I said, you just have to be comfortable with knowing that other weapons will severely outclass it there as well. This gun shines at medium to large range. It just needs a few more updates to make it truly shine in its, correct category. But ladies and gentlemen, as always, if you enjoyed today's video, leave a like. If you hated it, leave a dislike. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell. We post daily here at 8 in the morning Eastern time. And if you guys want to check out any of my live streams, I'll be live today over on Kick. That stream will go live between 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern time. You guys can find a link to that channel down in the description of this video. But as always, thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you all next one. Peace out.